All right, so I'm gonna keep these keyframes just so I can remind myself of what value I set the rotation to do all the sculpting. So I'm gonna keep that keyframe over there and select them again. And about maybe 2 frames later, I'll zero it out. Let me disable these and do another keyframing forward like so. That's about a good, I'll say 15 to 30 degrees of protraction. So that's not bad, but I didn't set a key. So I'm going to set this at 31. Make sure that over here, I set a key of 0 for the rotate Z. This one's going to be a little bit messier because there's 2 axes of rotation that we're interested in. And then a few frames later, take it back and do my pinch. So we're going to try to process both of these together. That's about a fair amount there. Okay, so shrug, protraction, retraction. And it's time to get the work done. Start with the protraction. I do want to point out that I have been saying that this shrug thing, the maximum the average human being can shrug their shoulders is about 60 degrees, and I only have done 30 here, but I'm okay with that. I feel more comfortable adjusting this one where I can see what's happening, and then I'll count on extending that set-driven curve to get anything past this point. So I think past this point, it will just continue executing. So if I was to do like a even minus 45, because that was about the least, like that, it'll probably still keep executing. We'll see how that turns out. Worst case scenario, I'll just repeat it. But again, I feel comfortable at this minus 30 where I can actually see some flesh between the deltoid and the neck. All right, let me get started with this protraction work. Make sure symmetry is on. I'm going to isolate the mesh. Rely on my move brush again. Can't forget to create the target first. Go back to 53. Get started. And the clavicle is also broken, but first let me deal with this. And make sure the clavicle doesn't have an angle to it, that it's straight. Okay, so I think that's it. This stuff is not as hard. I'm just going to call this TRGT. Actually, this is my source. Shoulder protraction. And do my duplicating and masking. Now, in a scenario like this, where both of these are sharing such a tight space in this center, so that you have this weirdness here, this I'm going to resolve by doing some smoothing on either side. so that now is a better transition in that center line. I did smoothing on both sides. All right, doesn't look bad at all. Let's move on to the retraction. This is the one I've been waiting to do. It's more than a fix, and it's the pinching of the skin. So I'm going to slide all the way back here and start to analyze this thing in isolation and see how I'm going to do this. I definitely have to start off by doing some smoothing in the center. I see some weird spiking over there. It's not good at all. So that's frame 76. Let me go back to 0. Add a target. Source. Delete. Shoulder. Retraction. Let me disable these two. All right, so let me repair this central part first by smoothing. Shouldn't be too hard. Make sure symmetry is on. Grab my smooth and clear this mess up. So now that that is sorted out, let me start with a brush that is going to help me do this cutting. So what I need is an initial crease down the center. Right, and this is the knife brush. This would be the equivalent of the Damien standard brush in ZBrush. And I'm going to make the brush smaller. Move this out of the way. Make sure I'm in my tool settings. And start to perform this cutting. I have to be very careful with this, because when it comes time to mirror, I'm going to have to erase intelligently here. All right, so what I'm going to do is I do have to be careful, because this pinching still acknowledges that the scapula, the body of the scapula, is still in there. So the pinching occurs more so at the bottom here. So I need to start hinting at a cut. And then I have to do some building up. Might want to increase the strength of this build-up brush. Yet still, I want some more. Yeah, definitely limited the number of polygons is going to make this slightly harder, but it's still possible. As dense as it is, still not much information as is needed to make this work perfectly. So I do have to make sure they're big shapes that I'm making. It just occurred to me that for something like this, it will be helpful to turn on shadows and ambient occlusion, just so we can see the work that's being done. Because of how the polygons are, apparently I don't have as much polygons as I thought I would for something like this, so it's going to require a little bit more meticulousness in the way I deal with this. I'm going to do some smoothing. Perhaps trying to get 2 folds is a little ambitious. And also when the geometry isn't flowing in the direction that will make this easier, it's a little hard. I'm definitely going to have to polish each side separately, so at least they look different, because It's not going to be good if these two look exactly the same, especially since they're so close to each other.